guys, and welcome back to episode 2. Super pumped to bring you this episode of Females Doing Cool Shit. Today I am with a beautiful friend of mine, Sarah. Sarah isn't just a business owner, but she's also a mum. She nearly gave birth in the car park. Coming in here today. I've told her that she has to keep her legs closed because we have 1 hour episode and she's not allowed to give birth at all.
At all.
I guess I met Sarah when she came to, as you would know from my first episode that you may have listened to, that I was married. I am now divorced. But Sarah did my hair at my wedding like 10 years ago.
Oh
Fuck,
my God.
I don't even know. Long time ago. Ancient dinosaur years. And Sarah did my hair there, and then we just connected there, and she was a hairdresser in Hastings St.
Yeah.
That then grew her own empire that she has today. And I guess the reason I wanted Sarah to come on today as my very first guest for the podcast was because she doesn't know it, but she inspires me immensely. And we just connect with each other whenever we're having a fucking meltdown or a great day. We're like, oh my God, what do you think of this? Like, even to the point where I was like, I need an accountant. And she's like, yep, here, bitch, use mine. So we just connect and bounce ideas off each other, and I really look up to her, and I think that other women could learn so much from her journey. So welcome, Sarah.
Thank you. You're the cutest.
Welcome to the podcast. I just thought we would start by having you share about what it is that you do. I mean, I know I just said that you obviously own your own hair salon.
Yep.
Which is incredible. The most beautiful hair salon I've ever been into. It's like you're walking into like a Brisbane bougie bar, really good vibes, and you're there with all your girlfriends.
Yeah. It's just the vibes. Yeah.
That's how I would explain it. I feel like the energy of a place completely changes your experience.
Totally, yeah. And
Great
I think,
energy there.
priority is definitely then hair.
Yeah, then hair. Then hair, I love it. Hang on, what about the drinks? The drinks
The
list is
drinks,
pretty good.
yeah.
I mean, I've quit drinking, but I would go back for one of those
You
cocktails.
can have a mocktail doll.
Yes.
Yeah.
So do you want to share your story, who you are, a bit about yourself? Go for it.
All right. So I have been in business for 6 years next month. I know.
Wow. That's insane.
Wild. So own a hair salon and have 5 girls currently working for me. We are pretty young, a young team, and that's kind of like my priority is the next gen in the industry. I've kind of been on a bit of a roller coaster with business. It hasn't been straightforward. 6-year journey. There's been a lot of change.
Yeah.
But currently...
Well, you moved locations.
Yeah,
that
moved
was
locations, kind of changed business structure a little bit, refocusing things, the COVID thing, babies. There's been a lot in there. At the moment, we're just cruising, probably having like a little bit of a plateau, chill time and figuring out what the next steps are.
So tell us a bit about Velvet Mane. So where is Velvet Mane?
Velvet Mane is in Marcoola. We used to be in Perugian. We are a blonde colour specialist studio. We are hidden upstairs, so you're on a need-to-know basis coming to us.
Yes. Very private.
Very
Invite
private,
only VIP.
Young team, as I said, that's kind of like our vibe is, really training, upskilling, getting new people into the trade.
Do you feel like your vision for Velvet Mane, this is a deep question, like 5 minutes into the podcast, but here we go. Do you feel like your vision or I guess core value has ever changed of what you wanted for Velvet Mane, or do you feel like that's always been there?
I think the core vision's always been there. I think I've gotten distracted sometimes and maybe caught up in the success of other people and what I should be doing, but I think I always come back around to what I've always wanted to do, and it's training other people.
Giving back. That's
Giving
awesome.
back,
I love that. So do you like being a boss, like a business owner?
I
hate
do.
the word boss. It's
boss.
Someone called me boss lady the other day, one of my staff, and I was like, bitch, please, boss lady. Like,
because you just feel old and like cranky.
Like, I mean, I am old. I'm 35, but 100%. Like, boss lady, fuck, she's coming quick.
Yes, psycho. No, I do. There's areas I love about it. I think people management is so hard.
Yes.
It's so hard, and it's really hard to resource things to be better at people management as well, I find, especially in female industry. But I do love it. I don't think I could ever work for anyone else ever again.
Yeah, like being that leader, I guess, like, and knowing your leadership style. I mean, my girls at work know, I think I've got 15 staff now. We just hired our work experience girl because she's so cute. We love her. And she's like, I really want a job. We're like, yep, you're in.
Done.
I find when I really look at my leadership style, I really struggle with being a leader and also being a friend. Like, how do you... This is a big conversation that I always talk to business owners, female business owners, about how do you like separate the two and be like the fun friend that enjoys the good vibes and the good energy, but also be the leader.
It's so hard. And I think it's ever changing as well. Like, I think to be empathetic and be a kind-hearted person, you can't always separate it. Like, there's always going to be that part of you that's super involved. I think, learning your own personal boundaries for protective is the most important thing first to then that separation. But I think you kind of have to fail at that to then know how to do
reflect
it. Yeah.
Go, what did I just do?
Yeah.
Why the fuck did I do it that way?
Yeah.
How can I do it in the future? So with you helping so many, like, I guess, young girls and the next generation coming through the hairdressing, when you think about you as a mentor, what do you pride yourself on?
I think being understanding and compassionate is probably my, like, strongest. Reflecting on my own apprenticeship, I have so much respect for the people that did train me, but it was very hard and it was, I guess, aggressive and negative to learn. So I think my biggest thing has always been like having the positive energy and learning how people, not everyone learns the same, and you can have 14 staff and you're going to have 14 different ways to teach them and lead them. And I think that's where people get caught up, is they have their one leadership style and that's how they lose, because they forget to change to what that person actually needs to get the best out of them.
You mentor so many young girls. Who is your mentor? Yourself?
Still working that out, No, I think when I started, I didn't have a business mentor. It was so fresh. Like, even though it was 6 years ago, hairdressing kind of like was only just popping off for like the young salons. So I didn't really have anyone salon related that I did have as a mentor. I think reflecting on it now, it was probably adults that I had attracted in my life personally that were probably more mentors in their work ethic and their goals and morals and things. And I think I subconsciously took that on as mentorship. And now, business-wise, it would probably be people like Kirsty Ann, Amelia Jane, all young girls who have built their own empires just off their own backs, just by themselves to begin with, and it's just grown. But I think I definitely relate more to personal mentors than actually in my industry. I think it's like wanting to have growth on yourself, on your own person, and then that reflects into business.
When you like reflect on your experiences, what's like from a mentor, what's like the best advice I guess for me, the best advice I ever received, and it's something that I truly live by now, is like do something that your future self thanks you for. So I talk about this analogy with heaps of girls. I was interviewed on a podcast actually a month or so ago, and I spoke at length about it. Do something that your future self will thank you for. So whatever you're putting off, just fucking do it.
Yeah.
And then when that time comes around, you're like, thank fuck I did it. And I speak about it like I'm a single mum. I've got 2 little girls. It's a fucking shit show in the afternoon. You're getting home from gymnastics or wherever the fuck you've been, and you're trying to cook dinner, you're trying to pack their bags, trying to do homework, trying to charge their iPad for school the next day, all of this stuff that when they go to bed, I could really just not do anything. I could just go to bed. Yep. But instead, I clean the kitchen. I make sure my house is tidy because I know that myself will wake up the next day and thank myself.
100%.
So that's, I guess, my personal piece of advice that I truly live by. Like, what would be something that someone's shared with you that you're like, yep, I'm sticking to that like glue?
I think I definitely relate to that a lot. And I think another thing is, someone said to me once, nothing that you do is ever failure. Like, even if it doesn't work, you still got something out of it. You learnt what you didn't want to do. You learnt what's not going to work, what doesn't align with you. So I think letting fear get in the way because of failure, that like it just doesn't exist. I think your road changes so much. Having one set goal, great, you get there, it changes. Didn't work, it changes. Like there's no such thing as A to B done. Like, and I think being flexible with that, being open to change, being just not scared to do that.
It's funny, that word fear, isn't it? Like it just comes up so much. And I guess females doing cool shit, like my motto for it is be brave enough to just try.
Try, yes.
And it's funny, like, well, it's not funny. It's strange, I guess, that so many women have these like superpowers and these interests and passions, and they just completely stop because of, I would say most of the time it's comparison. They compare themselves to someone else 100%. And go, well, if she's doing it, I can do it.
Yeah.
No way, no
Totally.
chance. But when you lose that idea of fear and you see it as a way that you can learn a lesson, there's so much value in that. Just fuck the fear off and do it.
And it just like opens up your ideas so much. Like once that fear is gone, it's like you see a fucking warehouse and you're like, done, shop. You see an empty building and you're like, yep, I'm going to put a salon in that. Like it just opens up so many more ideas. And I think, losing that has been the most important part for me, I think, in business.
Yeah. When it comes to like juggling everything, being a mum and business, like how the fuck do you survive?
I'm not.
Therapy. Help me.
Yeah. Can't even say alcohol because I'm pregnant.
Honestly, like, we love them so much. But
the juggle. I think, and I know that you would be the same in this, I think it is trying to remind yourself to ask people.
Oh, yes.
Or accepting help.
Yeah.
And it's a really, really hard thing to do, especially when you get more into that girl boss, independent, hustling kind of vibe. I almost feel like it's harder to not rely on people, but just accept it. And you get lost in this, I have to do it all. Like I have to be everything to everyone. And I think guilt as well as a mum. You feel guilty for chasing goals and dreams. Even though you know it's for them, you still feel guilty for putting the energy into that instead of their nighttime routine or like going to something at school, or like it is a really hard juggle.
Do you have open conversations like mummy's on her laptop because I'm doing this for work?
I got caught in a trap to begin with that I was like, I'll be there in a minute, and just not explaining it. I then realised the importance of that, and looking back on my own childhood, I haven't spoken to my mum since I was 18 and I'm 30. So I think, and she was always a stay-at-home mum. I don't even honestly remember my childhood with her, like being present, and she was a stay-at-home mum. And then I think that reflection for me, I was like, oh my God, like even though I'm at home and I'm working, I'm on a laptop, I want them to know why I'm doing that and what that kind of gets us, and that it's not just daddy goes to work to bring home money and look after everyone, and like you can do this as well. So definitely, like I explain things to her all the time, what I'm actually doing, like whether it's, I mean, she's 4, so she doesn't understand a lot, but I'm like, mummy's paying the girls, mummy's doing this, or like even if Dean and I are having conversations about the business and management of staff, she hears a lot of that. So it is interesting having her reflect on those conversations and things that she hears, and I think it's really important to her moving forward with communication that we explain what our time is like separated into, and it's
yeah, for sure. I find going off that, I find it very hard to, in all honesty, I find it very hard to switch off from business brain.
So hard. It's
so hard. Luca will be like, Mum, I want to show you this new routine. And look, I've seen the routine 27 times, but she's so desperate. She's wearing like some random outfit she's pulled out of the dress up box. And all I'm thinking about is, someone's emailed me a question that they could find out the answer to on the website, but I've got to reply because it's the way that business works. And if I don't, she'll find business within someone else or move on from it. And I find it so hard. I'm getting better at it.
It's really hard. It's I think it's guilt for both because you feel guilt for them, but then you feel guilt for failing at that. And then what's the point if you fail at that because that's for them?
Yeah.
So it's like this vicious cycle of where do you prioritize energy into? And I think too, not that we're caught up in it, but it's almost like you want to succeed so much, and our generation's so different now. Like we're not just sitting at home to be looked after anymore. So I think we want to succeed so much and prove to them that we can do it. But I think it's always going to be a challenge. Like I think mums switch that part off.
It's just...
It's in us.
Yeah, I agree. I definitely agree. Okay, Sarah, tell me what is like a really big challenge in business that you have faced? Lol, OnlyFans girl, tell me that story, please.
Look, there's been a few. There has been a few. But yes, we had an incident.
Tell us all about it. Shortened version. Unfortunately, the world out there and other platforms of income, I had a staff member who had a side hustle.
And I'm all for it. Go for it, girls. But unfortunately did it in the workplace.
Yeah. Whoa.
Yeah.
It was a lot.
It was a lot, and advertised that it was done at the workplace. So that...
Did she make a lot of money from it?
Honestly, I hope so, because it cost her a job. Yeah. And, like online platforms, anyone can see it. And it quickly had gotten back to me through my husband's workplace.
Yeah.
That's how fast it travelled around the coast. So I think having a business that people know about, people associate people with, and it spirals so quickly. So that was something that I never really saw myself having to deal with and not knowing how to deal with it as well. Like, I'm girl power, like go for it. Honestly, I wish I could have done OnlyFans back in the day.
Yeah.
Got kids now.
Yeah.
So I respect it, like go for it. But there's just a time and a place. And I think when you've worked so hard to build a reputation and a standard, to have that threatened, I think it actually brought out the mama bear in me more than anything, because I was like,
this is my baby.
My baby. Like, that's huge. Like
you're impacting on my business and the future reputation of my business.
Totally, and it could ruin everything.
You ringing me, and you were like, I think you were more shocked than anything.
Yeah,
and then you were like, I don't even know what to do.
Like, I don't even think I had anger. It was more just, I don't know how to handle this. I've never heard anyone have to handle with this. Like, who do you go to? What do you do? So it was a huge learning curve for me, and I guess that was a big thing in setting up HR for a small business, because you don't think about it being young and being a businesswoman and being friends with all your employees until something like that happens, and then you go, do I have $30,000 to get a lawyer to deal with this situation, because I don't want to be discriminating against someone, and that's not what I'm doing, but I have to... My business, and it's a really blurry line. So I think that was a huge challenge and lesson in restructuring my business, and I think, learning that you can have 4 staff, be small, but you still need a HR in place, and all of those policies. And it's not just as simple as like, oh, you did that, see you later.
Something I've loved doing is I actually have a group chat, which you probably have too. I have a group chat with all of my girls, and I post like, this week, this is our focus, or like just bringing that team element together so that your staff never forget what your vision for the business is.
Totally. And I think really having to weed out the people that don't align with that energy. And not everyone wants to hustle. Not everyone wants to grind. Some people just want to come in and work, and that's totally fine. Yeah. But I think, you really need to find people that bring that energy down and kind of fuck them out of the system.
I feel like your clients tell you, right?
Totally.
Like at Thrifter, if somebody's working there and they're doing a really poor job,
they
don't greet you. They don't ask you how you know about Thrifter. They don't ask you how they can help you. They don't talk to you about, when you're trying on an outfit, what you could match with whatever it is. I hear about it straight away. Yeah. I get an email inbox. I get a DM to Instagram like, oh, why have you got that person working for you? They're
not your vibe.
They're not your vibe. They're not your energy. What's happening there?
Yeah.
And I think it's a hard, as a business owner, it's really hard to manage that. My whole thing is like 3 warnings and fuck off.
Yeah, totally.
Like, not warnings, but like, hey, this has happened. Here's how having hard conversations is the hardest thing
The
ever.
hardest thing
hey?
ever because you feel guilty.
Yes.
Like you take that on as like, oh my God, I'm such
And
a
you overthink. Okay.
shit person.
Yeah.
Or like, oh, they're going to hate me. Like
Yeah.
it's such a hard thing to take that out of it.
Couldn't agree more. So anything that you would do differently
A lot.
on your journey? That's cool. I love that you said that.
Yeah, no, I think I would change a lot. I think early days I wish that I had invested in my own education for business more because it grew quick and then I got just caught up and I didn't have time and it was learning on the fly and it was teaching myself and it was fucking up and having like the wrong accountant and the wrong people behind me really affected how the business ran, but I didn't know because it wasn't my trade. I didn't know. So I think, looking back, I really wish that I had done something like that. Whereas now I think like 6 years down the track, it's so accessible. Like there's podcasts everywhere, there's info online, there's short courses, but that's grown really rapidly. So that probably would have been my biggest thing. And then I think the other thing is, which is so hard, social media comparison. I think there was a long time there that I got caught up in the really successful businesses that had been existing for a long time. And I was like, why are we not doing that? Why are we not attracting that? And kind of forgetting that they'd been around for 13 years.
Yeah.
And they were older than me and they had more money to invest. And I think that set me off track for a little while because I was just putting energy into the wrong focus. And I think I probably let down my team a little bit because I was separated a little bit. So I think that just trying to stay in your lane, I feel like you don't know that until.
Well, my mum, for example, every single time someone opens a pre-loved market or a pre-loved shop, she's like forwarding it to me. Capitals, did you see this? I'm like, who cares? Why are you showing me, Mum? I
don't care. Yeah.
I don't care. I'm just staying in my lane. I know what I'm doing for Thrifter. I have my core values,
Yeah.
what I want to do, and that's where I'm in.
But it's hard to learn because in the beginning you're like, I copied my rack or a bit like. Yeah. You bought the same mirrors as me. Yes. Like, it's so hard.
Yes, it is. It's very hard. But I think
the other thing, going back to the quote, is I love that, people say, like, imitation's the best form. Fuck that off. I don't think it's flattery at all. But I think it's remembering that you always have to make the first move for them to make another move. So they're always going to be behind you. Yeah. So it doesn't matter. Recently,
I never do this ever. On Thrifter, I looked at the story views.
Oh my God, it's my favorite thing to do.
Like, who's looking?
Who's talking?
And this account that had like 2 followers had ripped off the logo and it says, hey there, Thrifter. And Thrifter coming to Melbourne soon, rent a rack, like everything the same. So I actually sent them a message and I was like, hey guys, just letting you know that I actually own the domain, like I like the name and everything, like probably a little bit spicy, but like you're more than welcome to do whatever you want to do in life, but maybe just not take my business name.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
That'd be so nice.
And they were really apologetic. They were like, sorry, we're just really inspired by your story, blah, 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 by what you do, blah, blah, blah. And we'd love to have one in Melbourne. So sorry. It was like the most awkward reply. But I just left it there and I moved on from it. But it's interesting. That was me getting caught up on it. Yeah. And I could have gone further, but 100%. I chose not to. I was just like, back in your lane, bitch. Let's go. Move back, Renee.
It's so hard though because you just get this anger of like, why? Like, why do you want to look the same?
Yeah.
But it's because they see an easy ride. They haven't seen the late nights, the tears, the screaming, all of the hard shit you've had to put in. They just see this shiny object that's being successful. Yeah. And they're like, I want that.
So many people say to me, you're so lucky. I'm like,
honestly.
The fuck?
It does my head in.
So lucky.
I'm tired.
16-hour days. Like, really, if you divide my wage by the hours I work, I'm on $3 an hour. Well, I've only just started getting a wage. And it's minimum base wage, babe.
I'm like, oh my God, I get maternity leave. Yes. But no, it is. Like, that's so overused. Yeah. Like, the luck.
Yeah,
wish I could be
like
it.
So, lastly, before we wrap up the episode, what is the future of Velvet Mane? If you don't know, we don't know. We'll just ride the wave. But do you have?
I don't know. It's a roller coaster.
Obviously, you're having a baby
having
today.
a baby. Yeah, hopefully today.
In 3 hours?
Yeah, 3 hours. I don't know. It changes all the time at the moment. I think I've reached a point in my life, like my 20s have been all hustle. Haven't been overseas. I haven't really lived life yet. So I feel like there's a change coming, but I don't know what it is. And I don't know whether that's, so I always joke about selling the salon, and I think I would go insane.
Yeah.
Control freak.
Yeah.
I think just maybe restructuring, adding balance into my life, hopefully, for husband's sake.
Yeah. Bit more peaceful,
A bit
do
more
you think?
peace, I think. Yeah, trying to navigate
For 2 babies.
life with 2 babies, but being successful. And I feel like my life goal is to be that powerhouse role model for my kids. And I think that's like my core value, I think, for my personal life, and showing them that they can do whatever they want. Through school, I was just such a, I was going to say brat, but because I think I needed to be stimulated and challenged.
You were disengaged?
I was disengaged, and my daughter is exam. So I think I want to show her that you don't have to. You can make it up as you go. You can
be whoever the fuck you want to be. And if you change the idea.
Yeah, who fucking cares?
Yeah, you can literally turn around and do a full 360, go the other way, 180,
And that's successful.
Yeah.
So I think, I love the business, but restructuring it and I don't know, maybe going a new route with it, get some more girls, kind of get a whole new generation of young ones coming through. We've had a break from apprentices, so get back on that, get some more little babies.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
Do you see that your studio will expand to 2 studios ever, or
I don't think so. I toyed with the idea of it, but I think for my own sanity, I would rather focus all my energy in one
successful,
place.
Beautiful space.
And I think it comes back to people management. It's hard to find people, and I don't.
Especially when you're taking maternity leave, to have other people come in and run the business
run your
for you.
baby for you.
Do you have someone doing all of your admin on the side? You do it all, yeah. I just hired a PA, and she has just taken over my emails. And I need to stop looking at her reply and being like, I would never have done like that, or maybe write like this. Or, nah, I've never thought that, because all of her replies are literally what I've replied to someone else.
Yeah.
She's hands down incredible. Would be dead without her. I guess it comes back to letting go and going,
Totally.
okay, you can take the reins.
Yeah,
I'm
that
scared.
should be my focus, is letting go of micromanagement.
Yes, yes.
But it's hard because you're the one that has everything to lose.
Yeah.
So how do you do that?
You're putting your, I guess, future and faith
In
and
the
just
hands of someone
everything.
else. Yeah, and that's big.
That's big.
That's big.
That's probably why in business you just need to always be cautious.
Yeah.
I've become really good at listening and observing.
Yes. Observing.
Those 2 things.
Everything.
For, I guess, you and I have very similar personalities. We're very loud. We're very out there. We're very big energies.
Big energy, yeah.
To take a step back and observe. I do it sometimes when I'm with my too, and just see the way that they move.
And I think take time and not react with it, because that's very,
Sleep
when
on
you
it.
have a big personality, you are fiery straight away. But sometimes all you need to do is step back, breathe, come in the next day, and just ask a
Well, thank you. I'm so
you.
eternally grateful to have you as my first guest. It's so cool. I
I'm
fucking
obsessed.
love it. If you are keen to get your hair done, you don't just have to be a blondie.
No, you
because
don't.
I've had my hair done there many times and had black and brown and bobs and whatever
Literally
it is that
everything.
I just change up in there. But you do have to book in advance because
do.
she's so popular, and I sometimes struggle to get in there. She's like, yeah, you can get in 6 weeks. So definitely book in advance, and you can find them on Instagram, Velvet Maine. Is it just at Velvet Maine?
At Velvet Maine, yep. Instagram, online bookings.
Yep.
Message the girls.
They'll help you out. So thank you for everything.
Thank you for having
Love
me.
you.
Love you.
Thank you, listeners. I can't wait to bring you episode 3 in 2 weeks' time. And I can't wait to share from another female who has inspired me in the world of business and in my personal life.